Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is 12 Gauge. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. Let me start off by telling you a little bit about what my plans for the show are tonight. I'd like to welcome Always Street and Rondi, who are in the chat right now. You know, even though I have my true crime stuff up, we're not going to be talking true crime tonight. We're going to talk about social distortion and understanding emotional abuse. You know, if you're in the chat, whether you come in late or not, please be classy. Please do not start arguments and allow yourself to agree to disagree. And try to understand that we all come from different cultures, different understanding, and we all can get along and gain an understanding of where we are all coming from because it's never okay to be emotionally abusive. You know, so I just wanted to put that out there right quick before I started talking. Well, you know what I mean, before I actually start my stream. Um, I thought I'd come on tonight to do this live because I've been home for a couple days, and you know how whenever you're on an emotional high and you get away from life sometimes, it helps you to reflect on how life is, how you want it to be, and the goals that you have set for yourself. And we reinvent ourselves more often than we realize. Sometimes we reinvent ourselves because we feel like we're going through life and things aren't going the way we want them to go, or life is really taking us on on a path that we didn't prepare for. It takes us on a path that sometimes we feel we're drowning. We don't have anybody to talk to. Nobody understands us. Life just throws us many curveballs, and we feel like giving up. Especially if we're coming in the perception of people being emotionally abusive to us, or our reality is distorted in some way. Maybe we've lost the ability to make as much money as we once did. Maybe the housing issues are becoming too much to fix. Maybe you have family members that are sick and you've had to take on extra, not burdens, but responsibilities to help them out. All these are life changes that sometimes we're not prepared for. And our distortion of our social stability is rocked. And it's even harder if we're taking care of people who are emotionally abusive to us when we're just trying to help, when we're trying to pick up the pieces. You know, my channel discusses true crime a lot, but I also discuss other things. And I feel that's where I make the most opportunity to assist people in their journey through this thing we call life. You know, let me share a little bit about myself. That way I don't seem like I'm coming off as preaching to you or that, my life has not been full of struggle and things of that nature. Especially if you're new to the channel and you're watching this later on. I want to tell you a little bit about who 12 Gauge is or was. 12 Gauge was very, very hot headed, very temperamental. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't show me that I was wrong, and I definitely wasn't going to take redirection very well. The distortion in my life was mostly self abuse because I had been abused most of my childhood, and I had PTSD that was unresolved. I had depression, I had anxiety, I had control issues, I had abandonment issues. I had a bunch of areas in my life that I just couldn't find a way to stabilize them. So I lashed out whenever I would meet somebody who had more of a stability than I did. Even though I was craving that, even though I was gravitating to those people, I would somehow burn them up because I just couldn't put out my own fires. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys in chat or anybody that's watching. I don't know if you understand what that means when I'm saying I couldn't put out my own fires. Meaning that everything that I touched seemed to burn up. I would help people because I would feel good about myself. And then before long, I would just self sabotage. Thank you, Envision. Yes, I know a lot of people can't, and I'm not really fronting. I'm really not. Um, it's taken a lot of years to get to this point. But another thing that I tell people in these lives is I work on myself daily. Hey, Aquarius, I work on myself daily because I understand how quickly I can get irrational, how I can get very temperamental and very judgmental and very ugly with my mouth and everything else. I know it's hard to understand because I present an image that I do have it together, which I do. It's not a facade, I promise you. It's really not. I don't get on here to brag. I don't get on here to boast about where I am rather than where I was. I just want to show people that are struggling that it's possible if you continue the journey and just give yourself one more chance to breathe. One more chance to breathe. Because there's some days where we feel like we're suffocating. It feels like we're suffocating. That's perfectly fine, Aquarius. It feels like we're suffocating. We can't get enough air, and we can't seem to pull it all together. And when that happens, sometimes we lash out at the people who love us, who are trying to hold us together. And instead of them understanding what we're going through, most people want to fix you. They want to solve your problems. They want to fix you. And people say it just because you're a therapist that you got yourself together. No, no, it's not because I'm a therapist that I got myself together. Heck, even being a therapist wasn't enough for me to settle down. I don't know if you understand what I mean as far as a person who is running and gunning at both ends, running as fast as possible to something he doesn't understand, and running from something that, if it catches him, it will be his demise. I don't know if you understand that, but if you do, I'm glad that you do because I was running fast, and my distortion was everybody's against me. I'll never have a chance to be like everyone else. I'll always be labeled as this. I'll always be thought of as that. And in turn, I emotionally abused myself and I abused everybody else. It's not easy to talk like this because nobody wants to be vulnerable. and they especially don't want to be looked at as having any issues. But I can tell you, when you get honest with yourself and you really tell yourself, hey, how about we do something that we've never done before? And instead of getting scared and stopping and quitting, let's watch it as far as we can. And let's do as much as we can to get where we've never been very long. I heard an individual talk one time because I love hearing people speak. I love hearing people speak. And he said, in order to get somewhere where I've never been, I had to start doing things that I didn't believe in or had ever done. And that hit me like a brick because I don't know you in chat. If you've ever been there where you're at the crossroads and you're trying to figure it all out and you're trying to understand your life and you say, I can't go on. This is too much. Life is too much for me. You know, um, you have to continue to understand, as somebody said, trust the process. I'm sorry, I'm directing somebody to my channel. And, you have to trust the process because if you don't trust the process, you're your own worst enemy. I was there for a lot of years, guys. I was my own worst enemy because when things were going great, man, I was motivated. I was on fire. I was speaking, telling people how great my life was. If you only do this, this will change you. This will do this will do that. And you know what I was doing? I was giving more of my positive energy and direction that was being given to me to change. I was giving it out to other people instead of keeping it. And when that happens, we become depleted very fast. We become depleted, and what happens is we get burnt out on life, we get burnt out on ourselves, we get burnt out on our thought patterns. We think, you know what, nobody understands me, nobody cares. Our distortion in our social circle is saying, you're all alone. Why try harder? This doesn't work. They're just full of crap. I'm just going to go back to being the old me. It's like Eminem, Slim Shady. That's why I loved Eminem when he first came out because I could relate to that man like I could relate to a lot of other people. Because he would say, you're about to turn me into the old me, one that just don't give up, you know? And when I had enough, that was the only thing that I could turn back on was my anger. I could turn back on my anger and that got me going again. But at a particular point that just hurts you worse than you realize, it hurts you worse than you realize. And while you're hurting, you think, nobody cares, nobody listens, I'm all alone. Well, I want to tell you today that you're not alone. People do care about you, and people should listen. You're in here tonight for a reason. I'm not sure what that is, but hopefully it is to get your mind to a peaceful place where you can refocus, regenerate your energy, and get it together where you can go on one more day. It's kind of like this. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard people say on Sunday night, already stressing about Monday? Like Monday is an evil day, right? Oh my God, Monday tomorrow, Monday tomorrow. So they spend all day Sunday just ruining their Sunday because tomorrow's Monday. Or if they have something to do on Thursday, they stress all the way till Thursday because that's where their energy is focused. So it drains them from any positivity that could happen in between Sunday to Monday morning or Sunday to Thursday. And by the time that's over, it's almost like people breathe a breath of fresh air. And then all of a sudden, here we are again to another crisis or emergency. And many people are hooked on emergency because you know what it does? It creates pleasure in your brain. It releases dopamine. It releases serotonin. It releases cortisol and adrenaline. So our bodies get used to that release. And without it, we feel like we're running on empty. Instead of finding other ways to enjoy our lives, we're enjoying our lives on drama. That's our social distortion. Is this making sense to you guys? Can you type yes or no if I've lost you or if you're still here? Because I can never tell if people leave the chat. I can see the number, but I can never tell if they leave, if they come back, if they don't come back, any of that. So if this is making sense, let me know that I'm making a little bit of sense to you. Because I can tell you, I was one of those people. I would ramp myself up so much that the only way I could calm down was to get drunk and come down and then wake up feeling like crap the next day. Ramp myself up with emergencies and do it all over again. And when that didn't work, I sabotaged my life in another direction. Whatever that might have been. Whether it be seeking out unhealthy people, whether it be seeking out unhealthy jobs, unhealthy lifestyle, blowing money I didn't have and justifying it and saying, well, it's okay. You'll be all right. You know, I was my own worst enemy. My distortion in my mind was my own worst enemy. And many people don't understand what social distortion is. They think that it's the society distorting your thinking, but we distort our own reality based on our beliefs and our values and morals. And we do abuse ourselves emotionally more than we realize. How many times do you say something negative about yourself? Somebody gives you a compliment, and the first thing you do is almost like spit in their face and call them a liar by minimizing that compliment. Oh, I like your shoes. Oh, but they were $2 at the thrift store. Well, I didn't say all that. I just said that I liked your shoes. Why did you have to tell me the price? Why did you tell me where you got it? Because you thought that my compliment wasn't good enough just the way it was? You had to make it okay for me and you? Have you ever done that? Or have you ever had somebody do that to you? It kind of makes you feel like a liar. Like when you give them a compliment, they kind of meet you right there and say, nope, I can't accept that. No, 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 no. I got to tell you where I bought it, how much it costs. I really shouldn't have bought it, but you know what? Blah, 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 blah. And I know that's just out of habit sometimes. We all do it. But try to remember that's emotional abuse to you. How many times, there you go. You say right here. I'm gonna post your comment. Compliments are hard for me because I don't always feel worthy. That saddens me because you are worthy. You're more worthy than the person who is denouncing your worth, you know? We do one or two things. We either become a doormat or we become so overzealous in our confidence that it's obnoxious. And people do that as well. It's hard to have that happy medium, but it's reachable. It really is. You know, it's reachable. It's reachable to understand that you know what, you are worthy. You're worthy as a person. You're worthy as an individual who touches people's lives somehow, some way, somewhere, somehow. You being here makes a difference for one person if that person is only you. And I hope that you're hearing me, all of you who are listening to this. The tightest bond you'll ever have with somebody is with yourself. Even with your own kids, you won't have that. It feels like a strong bond, but even with your children, that bond still should be in comparison to the bond that you have with yourself. You know, they say if you don't love yourself, you can't love somebody else. You can't let somebody love you. That is so true. There's a lot of people say that I don't trust people. I meaning them who is speaking. They say I don't trust people. I only trust myself. Well, that's a partial untruth because in order to understand what trust is, you must trust yourself first and understand your boundaries and understand your worth. Because otherwise, it's just something that you've replicated from someone else. The same thing with love. You know, for a lot of years, I used to hug my mom, and I used to feel like I was hugging a stranger. It was that empty. I've always loved my mom. I've always, never had any contempt for her or anything like that. I just always felt like when I hugged her or when I told her I loved her way in the past, it was like this. And I wanted that so badly. Now it's there, thank God. But we had to work on one another in order to get it there. You can't expect other people to be like you. That's another thing. You can't expect them to be you. People love and like and give praise or don't give praise in different ways. I always expect people to be like me. Like, if I'm out going towards you, like if I'm being friendly to you and I'm going above and beyond, then if I get a blah response, then I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me? Am I trying too hard? Do I need to tone it down? What did I do? I've had that happen. On the vacation, I was just like, "Hello, how are you? Um, how's it going? You having a good day?" Blah blah blah, and nothing. And I was like, "Okay, well, I hope I hope you do well." Blah blah blah. Just kind of brushed it off. But any other time, thank you, Rondi. Any other time, I would have taken that personally. I would have taken that like, "What's wrong with me? How come you can't wish me well? How come you can't act like I'm worthy of a conversation?" Here's an example I used to give to people. Have you ever been in a coffee shop or in a convenience store and the person in front of you and then there's a person in front of them and the cashier is like friendly to the person in front of them, the next person, and then they get to you and you think, well, this cashier's friendly. And you start being friendly, you smile, you give them eye contact, nothing. There's been times where I've really turned on myself and said, well, am I that hideous that you were friendly to two people in front of me, and then when it gets to me, you just have nothing nice to say and nothing to answer me back. You just you can't even look at me. I'm that hideous, for a lot of years when my thinking was not at my best, I used to think like that. I used to think that I wasn't worthy of the world to see me. I didn't want them to see me. I wanted them to see the me that I presented to the world, not the real me, because I always felt like the real me was not enough for people, for whatever reason that might have been. And being on this camera, believe it or not, it takes a lot of work to overcome your insecurities sometimes. That's why sometimes when I'm not on camera, I'm not having those best of days, and not because it's because of me, it's because of other people. And, you know, on those days, I'm just kind of like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have somebody be able to read that I'm having a bad day and they kind of pick at me, so I go off on them. Nope, not going to do it. But those days aren't very often anymore. And I hope that if you have those days yourself, that you fight against that and you tell yourself, look, I'm no better and I'm no worse than anybody else. And I need to just get through this one breath at a time. I'm not a label. I shouldn't live by labels. I'm a person, and therefore I will overcome this. You know, it took me a little while to get older and mature because you complain that your feet hurt, and then you see somebody that can't walk and they're not complaining. You know, you see people that can't see, and then you complain that your eyes are blurry or your eyes hurt. It's it is just, you have to take a step back and go, why am I complaining? What's so bad about my life that I should have to complain about it? I can make my reality anything I want, and I don't have to prove it to anyone but me. I go back to work tomorrow and I could be dreading it, or I could be like, you know what? I go back to work tomorrow and then it's one day closer to the weekend. I'll help people. I'll do what I need to do and get through it and move on. Or I could sit there and just dwell on it and be like, no, I'm going to have a bad day tomorrow and it just work again. And then, a couple weeks I'll be on call again and just that and the other and just mope and grind and moan and groan. And what that really accomplish? I'm not saying that that's not healthy to vent. Okay. I'm not saying that. But at one particular point, when do you want to make the change? When do you want to make that change for you? Because it's like I tell people all the time, if you're not good for you, you're not going to be good for anybody. You're going to continue to abuse yourself, and people in your life are going to suffer, even if you don't want them to. Self care is essential. Take 30 minutes out of your day to do something for yourself. That doesn't have anything to do with exertion. I'm talking about winding down to focus your mind to a better place, to slow it down. Take something throughout the day that gives you pleasure and do it. Turn your phone off. Get off YouTube. Stop watching the soap operas. Very good. Turn the soap operas off. Focus on my children now that they're grown up. Focus on my granddaughter. Anything not to face my own brain. Well, there's nothing wrong with your brain. We just shouldn't go there alone. If you take somebody with you that loves you and cares about you and is not going to hurt you, and you want to talk about what's going on with you, there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't take people that are going to not understand what's going on with you and act like there's something wrong with you. Because those type of people won't do anything for you but just keep you where they're comfortable with you. And here's another thing that I want to tell you guys. When you start to grow and you start to outgrow your problems and you become healthier mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, people don't know how to take that. You don't have to tell them that you're changing. Just keep moving forward. They see it, and it's their problem if they can't accept it. Or if the only way that they can be around you is by talking to the old you or comparing you or trying to bring you down to the old you, you can set a boundary and say, "Hey, I'm moving past that person. I'm not that person anymore. I'm trying so hard because that person does their damnedest to kill my spirit on a daily, and I don't want to be associated with that person anymore." Because there's people that will step on your dreams. There's people that always have something negative to say. They don't have the positivity that is needed to grow. Therefore, they're going to stay the same, whether they're 20 or whether they're 80. Well, I'm sorry that that happened to you, Rondi. I really am, but I'm glad that you're talking about it. Yes, I mean, it's okay to get angry, but it's not okay to turn on yourself because of it. You know what I mean? People are just ugly people in reality, but we can see the good in everyone if we're looking hard enough. You know? Well, email me and I'll do my damnedest to help you out. Okay? Or if you want to share your stuff in the chat, I'll talk about it here too. Whichever you prefer. But what I'm telling you about emotional abuse is people, they use manipulation, they use gaslighting, they use emotional hostage, they use all kinds of stuff to keep you in control. People, Rhonda, you gave me a compliment the other day, and I don't know. Let me see if I got it. But you gave me a compliment the other day, and I didn't really, I didn't brush you off with it, but I was like, wow, she's able to see that through a camera lens, you know, and um, that made me feel valued. Yeah, maybe you typed the email wrong. Go ahead and email it. Well, Aquarius, can you email her my email address? Maybe she has it wrong, or maybe it's missing some words or something. If you could do that for me, please. Um, I just don't want to put my email out here. You know, like I'm saying is, it's always a good. It's always an indicator that you're giving too much to others whenever you start to feel beaten down or unappreciated. That's when you should take a step back and say, I don't, I'm an adult. I don't owe these people any kind of explanation, none whatsoever. You know, I don't owe these people any explanation about what I'm doing for me, by me, due to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as an adult, we get to that point where we just move on with our thoughts and say, be miserable. It's okay for you to be miserable. No, neither one of y'all said anything. Y'all stop. Y'all didn't say anything. None of y'all in chat said anything. I'm talking about just generalized stuff. Okay, y'all are good. Um, Whenever people get to that point of trying to control you, they do that. They emotionally blackmail you. They try to control you by turning you on people. They have people turn on you. It seems like nowadays people want to listen to what you got to say, not because they care, but because they want something to spread on you or to use against you in the near future. And that's ugly. That is ugly. I can get on here and I can talk about anything. And if somebody wants to use my words against me, all somebody has to do is just get on my get on any of these and see that I'm the same person in every one of them. That I'm no different. And if you've ever talked to me off the camera, off this platform, you'll see that too. That I'm no different. I'm the same person everywhere I go. And once you get to that point in your life, you'll understand that that is the freedom that you've probably been wanting to have for a long time that you lost somewhere along the way. Because we turn on our own selves more than anything in this world. I don't know if you realize that. We're feeling good about ourselves, and then all of a sudden somebody can make a snide remark. And the first thing, just like I said earlier, first thing you do is you turn on you instead of turning them off. You know what I'm saying? You just say, not today, Satan, not today. It's like, why do you turn on you? There's nothing wrong with you. Why turn on you? I'm not saying be overzealous. I'm just saying be empowered. Yes, I've been my own worst enemy as well. Like I told you, I was quick. Here's another example, okay? I'm full of examples because I'm a little older, but I'm full of example. Here we go. Have you ever walked into a restaurant? You ordered your food. You walk by a table. The table's silent until you're walking by. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts laughing. You glance over, and nobody wants to make eye contact with you. So you walk to your table, and that instantly changes your mood. Because you think, are they making fun of me? Did they make a joke about me? Um, do I know them? Did I do something with one of them and now they recognize me? What's up? Your brain starts going a million miles an hour, turning on you for no reason. Let them laugh. If that's all they got to do is laugh at you. If that's all they got to do is have time to laugh at you, let them have it. Let them do it. Keep walking with your head up. Get your table and just continue to enjoy your day. I was watching TikTok the other night, and there was there was this these two creators, I guess they're, I don't know if they're in a relationship or whatever, but they were they were giving examples of people, okay? And one of them, this guy was acting like he had Parkinson's or something, and he couldn't feed himself because he was shaking so badly. And they had a song playing, and everybody, it was a real restaurant, and everybody was walking around and they were staring at him. This one guy that was sitting next to him got up and left because he was so uncomfortable. Everybody was staring at him. The guy that was shaking and stuff. He continued to eat or tried to. Well, the waitress came to clean the table next to him, and she realized what was going on. She, after watching all these people ignore him, she went and took her gloves off, and she came and sat down and started feeding him, helping him eat. And if you don't think that that was amazing, I was like, oh my God, that is just too much. The same guy I saw, he was he was acting like he was blind, and he was going down some stairs, and he had a walking stick. The blind have that walking stick, and he would take a step, and you know he was obviously scared because he was acting like he was blind, and everybody was rushing right past him. And then finally, one person walked back up the stairs, showed him the railing, and helped him down. And I was like, man, that is something, bro. That is something. Like, and there was this other guy that it was the same guy. He had some, like, those extensions that the people that can't use their arms or legs very well, their legs, and they use the extension to be able to walk. Well, this guy had obviously fallen, and he was trying to get up, and the same thing. People just kept walking around him, and this one girl stopped and helped him up and walked with him. So that shows you how we worry so much about what people have to say about us. Hey Nina, how you doing? How we worry about what people have to say about us. We're quick to help, but we still worry whether people are going to accept us after we do what we know in our heart we should do. I'm so used to being rejected, I try harder at everything I do, if that makes any sense. I accept myself for who I am. I love myself, but just life has rejected me in a lot of ways that has tarnished my belief system over time. So, you know, that distortion in my mind always said, do it yourself. Do it yourself. Nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to be there for you. And when you have that mindset, if there ever is somebody that's there for you, you push them away because you're not used to it. And that's an awful mindset to have sometimes. We all need somebody, and not everybody is out to hurt us. And I have to tell myself on a daily because I don't know what it is. I mean, I had a friend tell me, "Hey, bro, you look intimidating, bro. You're a big guy. You you have that don't f with me look on your face. You have that I will kick your ass type demeanor energy that you walk around with. You have that self. whatever it is that you carry yourself around with, I mean, you're not very approachable. And I'm like, well, my mind says that I'm kind, that I'm courteous. I want people to approach me. And he says, yeah, but your body and everything else is saying, stay the fuck away from me. Excuse my language. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. Can any of y'all relate to that? Do you have that stay the F away from me? Leave me alone. Don't get too close. But you really want people to get close? You want people not to get close because you're selective. I know that, but you know, we all want to be accepted. Even if you say no, we all want to be accepted. You know. Hey, Carla, how are you? I walk around. I walk around oblivious. Nina says I'm needy and clingy and need outside validation. Yeah, I would believe that we all would like um validation. You know what I mean? Envision. Thank you for being here. We all like that validation. We want to we want people to say you're a good person because most of us are. Do you ever wonder what shaped you to be the person that you are today? What tribulations you've gone through that have hardened you or gotten you to the point where you don't trust people anymore? Who it was that took that innocent from your believe in all people? You know, yeah, dealing with a covert narcissist, that's terrible. You know, they say that being single is it means that something's wrong with you, that you're broken. Don't believe that crap. It's better to be by yourself for the right reasons than be with somebody for the wrong. You know? Another thing that I tell people is there has to be a time that you throw that broken card away and replace it with the beauty that you built from within, even if it's very little. You can't go through life believing that you're going to stay broken forever. You know? I thought that. I thought there was no way that I would ever get to this point in life. No way. There's too much wrong with me. And I'll be honest with you, when I get in a relationship and it goes sour or it doesn't last, the first thing I do is I want to turn on me and say, what did I do good enough? Or what didn't I show? What did I not validate the relationship enough? Was I too clingy? Was I too absent? What was it? You know? No need to apologize, Aquarius. You're fine. You know, That's the one area that I do turn on myself still sometimes. I wonder what's wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Why do you pick broken people? Why do you want to save the world? Why do you want to get with people that don't value you as much as you value you? Tell me, 12 gauge, why? Tell me, my boy, why do you do that to yourself? 12 doesn't have an answer for that. Because no matter what we think, we can't fix ourselves. That's why we need people in our life to be able to help guide us to the promised land. I understand that, Aquarius. You and I have talked. No need to. You're fine. You're fine. I wonder if all the years of football playing that I don't have like CTE or any of that going on. Because for a long time, I literally could not feel happy at all. I felt anxiety, I felt anger, I felt anxiousness, I felt depressed. But when it came to happiness, couldn't feel it. I could fake it, but I couldn't feel it. I couldn't generally be happy. I was low key hater, not happy for others because I could not be happy for myself. But I'm glad that things have changed in my regard because that's an awful way to be. I used to think that if I got out of my situation, if I got out of the city I lived in or the people I was around, that things would change instantly. And I found out very quickly they don't. You must wait for the process and stop adding and start deducting along the way. Isn't that weird when we're trying to get healthy? We add this, we add that, we add this, we add that, where we really should be deducting this, deducting that, waiting, 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 working, working, working until we get to that place in our lives where we're stable and we're no longer falling backwards very quickly. Oh, I could probably be here. I could probably fake it to make it. I could fake it to y'all because I had two personalities in my addiction. I relied on the other dude a long time, so I could fake it. But I'm sure you would see right through it. I couldn't do it very long, but I'm glad too. I'm glad I'm not that person. I enjoyed genuinely helping people. I enjoy seeing people grow. You know, rising above the ashes. When you think in life it's never going to happen for you, keep going. Keep going. Leave those negative people behind you. You don't have to explain yourself to any of them. Let them think what they want. They're not you. And what you'll notice in life is the more you keep moving forward, one day you're going to look back and you're going to go, how was I ever friends with that person? How was I ever attracted to that person? How was I ever involved with that person very long? I look back and I'm just so thankful that I didn't end up with certain people that I swore to myself and on God, my man, that I needed in my life or life was not going to be complete. Have you ever been young and dumb like that? Like, if I don't have this person in my life, it's not worth living. I gotta have this person. I know we're meant to be together, or this job, or this financial institution, or whatever. Have you ever had that happen in your life? Because I sure as hell have. And instead of asking what I need to do for 12 gauge, I started asking my higher power what they needed from 12 gauge. Hey, Sarah, thank you for joining us. So, almost an hour into it, time flies when you're having fun, right? Do y'all have any questions that I could maybe answer? Anybody want to come up on panel? You don't have to show your face. You can just vent because you just never know if somebody in the chat is dealing with the same situation you're dealing with. I don't do Discord anymore, so I won't be able to read it. I do want to read it, but I don't do Discord anymore. It was just too much for me. I just that's part of cutting the ties because there's the trust thing. There's a lot of things that I see that my inner self tells me, hey, don't trust that. Don't get too far in that. So, you want to come up for a little bit, Nina? Rondi, you want to come up? Aquarius? Sarah? Envision? Anybody? Anybody want to come up? I'll put the link down. As long as you're positive and talk about what we've been talking about, I'll share the floor with you. Because social distortions, social distortions, they hurt if you keep them for a long time. Okay, well, here's the link if you decide to, okay? There you go. Yes, she was. I'm silly. Where are you, Nina? Oh, there she is. Are you wearing your warning label tonight? I hope so. Hey, Nina. Nina, can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Oh, what the hell?
What? How's it going?
Hello, hello.
Oh, there you are. Hey,
Why do I not have any sound?
I don't know. I don't know. How's it going?
Hang on
Have
now.
I can hear you now.
I told you if I could muck it up, I'd muck it up.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you having any storms over there? Oh, lost Nina. Heavenly, how are you doing tonight? Hope everything's well with you. Twizzle, hey, what's up, buddy? I saw that you were on another panel earlier. I'll have to go check out that that panel that you were on. Well, thank you, Envision. I try. I try. Yeah, we heard her for a second, and bam, she was gone. Well, like I was saying, you can't let people to rent space in your head because they will try. They will try to do that. They will try to rent space. They will try to control you. They will try to manipulate, disrupt your positiveness. Just be you. Well, there she is again. Let's see if she comes up this time. All right, can you hear me
Okay.
now?
I think I fixed it.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, Nina, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I have a question for you before we get started.
Okay, warning label, warning label.
You always say that I gave you that name. How? When did I give you that name?
Do you remember the night that you and me and oh my gosh, we did the incel story,
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
and I said something, and you were like, "You need to come with your own warning label,"
Okay, I
and it
got you.
and it just stuck. I mean, because I admit, I mean, I fly by the seat of my pants. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth, and so
Right,
when um we were trying to build, we were trying to figure out my channel and stuff, and somebody came to me and they were like, okay, Nina is a pretty popular name, Kelly's a pretty popular name, so you're getting lost in the mix, so you need to come up with something that's sort of unusual.
right, right,
And so warning label came up, and I sort of like warning label Nina more than I do warning label discussions.
right, right. Well, I think it's an awesome name. I'm glad that you stuck with it. You know what I mean? Because you do have a you have good insight and you have different perspectives on things, and I mean, that's not a dig at you. Like I just
No, I
want to
mean,
say, you give. I'm being genuine here. You have a lot of good information, and if people really stopped with whatever their directive or narrative was, and they actually listened to you, they'd learn a lot.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I think that when I came to the true crime community, it was to take a break from TikTok and everything, and
Right.
I never dreamed that I would get like hooked into it like I did. Not
Right.
in a million years did I ever think I would even think about having a channel. You know, and I'll be honest with anybody, and I'm sure that I mean, well, I hope everybody goes through it because trying to build it, it's deflating. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, nobody loves me. I'm going to go eat worms. I mean, and you want to give up, and you want to, just say the heck with it, and okay, maybe I'm not all that in a box of chocolates. I
Right.
mean, but then you find yourself just digging in a little bit more at a time. And you're absolutely right. I have learned that, and this is not a dig towards anybody,
Right.
but you can get caught up in so much
Mhm.
that takes you away from what you're really concentrating on.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, your narrative is you're second guessing your own narrative because it's not fitting in with the other narratives. And now, oh no, I got to fit in and I got to do this. And finally, in the last couple of days, I guess I sort of went AWOL or MIA. And it was like, you know what? I got to get back to Nina.
Well, I'm glad that you figured that out. I mean, that's a hard lesson, and I learned the same thing. And just to be fair, I want to tell you to your face, it wasn't your fault that I got the week suspension. I was tired that night, and I was playing the last two songs, and you came up and you asked, for that song. I didn't notice. I mean, I was tired at that point. I should have just turned it off, but it had a yellow dot where the other one didn't have anything, you know? So I pushed that one played, and then I played the next one and it had a yellow dot too. Well, the yellow dot means that it's copyrighted, and that's what ended up happening. That's why they turned it off, and
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh, I felt so bad.
well,
But hey, I introduced you to a great artist.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything anybody did. I was just exhausted. We had been going for 3 hours, you know, so
Right.
I was about to cut it off anyway. So, don't let anybody tell you it was you or whatever. I'm just glad to be back, and like you were just saying, sometimes you got to take a break from the madness and recollect your own thoughts and be true to yourself
Right,
because
exactly. And that's what I want anybody and everybody, sub, mod, creator, it doesn't spectator, I don't care what you're doing. You
Mhm.
stay true to your path and don't let anybody take you away from your path.
Right.
And that I'm not saying that nobody was trying to do it to me.
Mhm.
It was just you start listening to all the different this and different that, and this one's going this way, and oh my gosh, wait a minute, there's 40 people in here, and I'm the only one that's thinking like this, and you know, um,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you start, I guess, what would it be, conforming,
Yeah. I mean,
and I'm not a conformer.
it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I got caught up in it myself, and you get caught up in the notoriety that people are noticing you, and they know who you are when you go into a chat or whatever. But in reality, I like being noticed, but I like doing things great behind the scenes, if that makes any sense.
It absolutely does. And the thing about it is mad respect to you because you do your own thing.
Mhm.
It and I think the conflict started inside me with the bone that I had hold of that I just wouldn't let go of. And I put that one video out and I took it down, and I was just not happy after that because I was like, no, this is something that is inside me. If I don't get it out, I'm not going to go forward.
Right, right. Understand.
And so the video I did last night, I'll be honest with you, I'm happy with it
Right.
because it's not anger. It's not, I mean, to me, it comes from a place of love and compassion.
I can see that whenever you're being natural, I can see when it flows from you. But when you're trying to, and myself as well. Last night I did the last Idaho 4 that I'm going to do ever. Even after the trial, I'm not doing any more. That's it. Last night was the last one. Because after I got done with that video, I felt so nasty and dirty because of everything that's attached to that case. You know, that doesn't mean that I don't care about the 4, that I
Oh, of
don't,
course, of
you know what I
course.
mean? I'm just not jumping into that arena because it is a dirty arena, and I don't want my name associated with any of that. I don't want to be associated with some of the creators that push their narratives and things of that nature. I don't want any of that. There's
And I
plenty of
think that I think that's the reason that it was so important to me was because, like I said last night, they're more than a click, they're more than a view, they're more than a tip jar, and when you take it that personal, and I'm not saying that I'm different from anybody else,
Mhm.
but, and this is strictly, this is not about a creator or anything, but when you are a grieving mom that's an addict too, with the guilt and stuff, and you can understand the feelings that that mom is having,
Yeah,
you just want to reach out and hug her and say it's gonna be okay.
yeah,
You're not alone. You're not, out here on an island by yourself. You're as good as the other parents. You deserve as much as the other parents. You deserve, and I'm not putting any of the parents down, it's that it's the Come on, y'all. There's got to be compassion.
Yeah,
If you can't have empathy, at least give them some sympathy.
right. And you're right on that. And it is a genre on this YouTube street that I believe that for everything that people are fighting for, they're also fighting against, and they don't even realize it.
Exactly.
They want justice for the kids, but yet they're fighting for innocence of an individual that could potentially have done the crime. How does that work?
Right, right,
And that's all I
exactly.
want to say. That's all I want to say on that. I
Yeah.
mean, but with any crimes that happen, you have to, I don't like the fact that the victim of the crime gets overshadowed by the publicity of the person committing it. Like, these people lost their lives. They have family that have to go on with their lives without them. I did two cases yesterday that really implement this, and one was about a gentleman that was in a hotel lobby and he was on meth and cocaine, and obviously he was going through a psychosis, and he was running through the hotel. I don't know the whole story because it's brand new, and the security guard and one of the guests literally drug him out of the hotel lobby, through the front door, out to the sidewalk, and pummeled him to the ground and held him down until the police came and they killed him. They
Oh my
suffocated.
God.
They suffocated him. You
Oh my
know,
God.
and that was one of the cases. And it's just so sad that there's so much going on as far as people losing their lives. That true crime does have plenty of other things we could be talking about. But I want to talk about the social distortion that maybe you've had in life that you could give people a little bit of hope on. What are some things that you've fought through in your mind? Because that's where the distortion starts. How have you
Um,
emotionally viewed yourself?
I don't know if I've shared it with y'all. I know that I've shared my whole story on, like on my, I think, I know I shared my story on my 11-year anniversary and my 12-year anniversary. Um, but when I was, the Little League football teams, my brother played Little League football for the Roadrunners. And oh my gosh, I wanted to be one of those little cheerleaders with the pom poms.
Right,
So I told my mom I wanted to be a cheerleader, and she's like, "You can't. You're too fat." I was 6. I mean, I was like, "I don't have to be one of the little ones on top. I can be the big girl on bottom holding them up." I just want to be a cheerleader. And
right.
so about starting about the age of 5 and 6, that's when I learned that I was a big girl. You know, and when I turned 11, my mama took me to the doctor, to the pediatrician, and had me put on prescription diet pills.
Okay.
And I can honestly say, they say that get to that, when you reach that point in your life, when you learn how to start manipulating and lying and the addiction and all that, that's basically where you stop until you get back into your recovery and learning yourself and everything. And so when I started my recovery, I was like, my God, I'm an 11-year-old. But if you
Right,
really get technical about it, I'm 6. I
right,
mean,
right.
because that's when it all got distorted. I wasn't a plump little cheerleader like I wanted to be. I was too fat to be a cheerleader.
Right.
So body image issues have been with me for 50 years now.
I can agree with that because in a lot of families they do focus on not the health part. They focus on your image.
Right,
Like you were
right.
saying, I can still go to family function today, and it isn't, "Hey, we're happy to see you. Hope you've been well." It's, "Damn, you've gotten big," or, "Damn, you eat well, don't you?" You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I love you too. You know what I mean? Like,
And,
okay, you're
and you
just
know what's so sad, Gage, is if you think about it, like I tell everybody now I'm fat, dumb, and happy because I'm clean and I'm me,
Right. Right.
And unfortunately, if I started going to the gym and eating right and doing it 100% the correct way, the first thing somebody would think of me, did you see how
Yeah.
little she is?
Yeah. She's back on the
Oh,
shit.
you know what she's back on.
Yeah. She's back on the shit. Yeah.
And that is so sad.
Yeah.
So now I just stay fat, dumb, and happy so everybody knows I'm clean.
I mean, that is sad. That is sad. What are you on? What are you taking? You know what? You're back on it.
Exactly.
You're back on it.
Don't have a mood swing. Don't sleep too much. Don't stay up too late.
Don't go MIA longer than 3 days, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
But you
but
know
we do
what
it to
you're.
ourselves. So I take
Yeah,
responsibility for it.
of course. But what we're talking about, and that's exactly what I was just about to say, is the emotional abuse that we do to ourselves due to the social distortion of our understanding of life. It creates a lot of drama in our own life that we get trapped in. We hate it, but for some reason we can't live life without it in that period of time. If
Oh,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
And if you think about it, and I didn't realize it for a long time, but, and let's see if I can say this the way that I envision it coming out of my mouth, because, sometimes the
Okay.
mouth works faster than the brain. But
Right.
if you think about it, we seek out the type of person that will treat us the way we think of ourselves.
Mhm. And we
Would that
push
make
away and we push away the people that
we
we
don't
don't
deserve?
we don't deserve, right?
Yeah.
But I said something earlier about rejection. Do you ever feel like, for all the rejection that you feel that you've been dealt, how many times do you reject people first?
All the time.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, they
Because
rejected me. They rejected me. But how many times have I said, somebody come up to me or somebody want to do something? Oh no, no, I can't. I can't with you now.
oh
Um,
yeah. I mean, if I feel like and the thing about it is, I will never blame anybody for the paths that I took or the mistakes. And I'm not even going to say mistakes, because I'm going to tell you, every left turn I made
yeah,
that should have been right made me who I am.
exactly. I feel the same way. I mean, there for a long time, I felt like that distorted thinking, that distorted image of who I was, and the emotional abuse that I caused on myself was worse than the addiction itself. The addiction was just feeding and cooling that off. I was burning myself up at both ends, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I came to realize that, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to get eat up for this statement, but warning label, warning label. um, I came to realize that, as far as DV or abuse or anything like that, I realized right at the end of my marriage that, and this was when let's see, my DV was from the time I was 16 until the time I was 19.
Okay.
And right at the end of it, I mean, a couple of years after I left, I came to realize that in a lot of those instances, I was the instigator and the aggressor, just being passive about it. Because, oh man, if I can push him into doing this, and y'all, this is terrible to say, but I'm just being straight up honest. Then he's got to feel sorry, and he'll love me, and you see what I'm saying? It was a weapon to use to get what I wanted.
Right.
And I am not at all saying that for any instance for any other person except myself. I mean, I'm not saying
It's
that
terrible. It's
anybody would
terrible
ever.
how we do that, Nina. I would cause a fight with my significant other so I could go and cheat, to go
So
and,
you could get what you needed.
yeah, go get drunk, go do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, and I mean, the first time that I ever realized that, I'm like, I mean, that was a heavy pill to swallow. I mean,
Yes. But
and
while you're in that tornado, so to speak, of your life, getting sober doesn't take the tornado away. And I think
oh
that's what
no.
people forget and understand is just because the drugs no longer there, the alcohol is no longer there, the women are no longer there, whatever you were using, the tornado is still there.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you this right now, the quietness sometimes will drive you crazy
Yeah.
because we're used to that chaos.
I'm glad there's no chaos. That's why early on in this channel, I decided that I was not going to have that kind of chaos in the chat. I'd been in other
Exactly.
channels. I had been in other channels, and I was like, there is no way in hell I'm going to be able to focus if all that drama's going on in the chat. I will not be able to present nothing because I'll be looking over there. What are they arguing about? What are they talking about? Why are they fighting?
Well, I mean, and I'm gonna be honest with you. One night you talked about um doing some shows like, like the coping mechanisms that people use, like writing and journaling and painting and, anything, I would love to be a part of that because I wanted to do that on TikTok. And because I think that there are so many different things that people do that people don't even think of that can help them get through those struggles.
Yes.
And I
Period.
talked
Period. Yes.
I talked about, on my lives, that I'd have 50 people in there and 49 of them would be asleep, and I'm serious. I was so heartbroken. I was like, about my second live, I was like, look at me go. I got 50 people in here. And they're like, yeah, two of them's on the screen and the rest of them are snoring. I'm like, wow, oh my God, I'm never going live again. And then then I realized that during the night that I was the place that they would go for comfort and safety. And they're like, but your voice puts me to sleep. Well, thanks. I mean,
I've been told that too. Your voice puts me to sleep. I'm like, I don't know how to take that. Whether
see,
that's a compliment
exactly.
or whether that's an insult, I don't
But
know.
then when I sat back and listened and, they talked about the comfort and the safety that, they said that they just put the phone on their pillow and wake up and know that I would still be there. And I was like, my gosh, that's like touching. I
Yeah,
mean, and so to me, that I'm not going to cry. I'm not a crier. Yeah, I'm a crier.
it's
I
okay
mean,
to cry.
but hey, let me tell you, I don't care. If it's an emotion, I put it out there. That's the only way we're ever going to deal with them, is to put them out there, be honest about them, and not try to hide them away.
True.
I did not cry a tear for 20 years. Not one tear. Through death, through whatever happened in my life, I could not shed a tear. And
I walked in that. I walked in that same trail.
yeah,
I
I
said that.
mean,
I said either that this morning or yesterday. Sometime that I'm not a crier. I can I can watch the most tragic thing happen in front of me and not shed a tear.
oh, not me now. After that first cry, it was over for me. I mean, it's the river of tears now, and I will ugly cry on a live with you in a heartbeat. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I, I can't, and I think that's the reason that was eating away at me about the video is because I had to get it out, you know,
Right.
and now that I've got it out, I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go another day,
Well, how many lives have you done since the last one that I was on there?
Oh, that would be zero.
None? You haven't done any more
None,
since that last time?
none, no,
Wow.
because it seemed like, I mean, you sort of get going, and then that self saboteur comes in, and it's like, okay, I'm going to back off. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go back to my research. I'm just going to go and out and,
You have plenty of stuff that you could be putting out. Just stay to what you enjoy talking about, Nina. The chat's going to go with your energy. If you are passionate and confident about what you're presenting, the chat's going to go with you if they're there for the right reasons. If they're
right.
not, get somebody to monitor and block them and keep going.
Lucky, I talked to Lucky last night, and God, that's such a wonderful guy. And he told me, he said, Nina, he said, I know it's hard. He said, but I want you to go and look at your subscribers. He said, you have some solid subscribers. He said, talk about the ground to build something on. He said, your ground is solid. You've just got to run with it. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Myself, I don't worry about talking. I don't worry about about any of that. Sometimes I wish I could stay silent now because for so many years I didn't have a voice. I would talk nonsense. But now that I've found my voice years ago, it's easy for me to talk on things. I don't have a script. I don't write down notes. I don't do any of that. I just freestyle it. I get on here and I talk and I talk and I talk and I talk and I talk.
see,
And
that's how I am. I think I would feel fake if I did a script.
yeah, anytime that I've tried to script something, it's gone terrible. And that goes along with real life stuff too. Anytime that I think this is gonna be amazing, I'm gonna just blow their mind, blah blah blah, something always happens and derails me and it ends up frustrating me, so I just go with whatever. And
And
the
the
one
thing of I was talking to, I mean, and I know this is going to go back into recovery and addiction, but
that's
what
fine.
I really like about what I'm doing now is like on TikTok, my whole platform was based around addiction and recovery. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're up there laughing, joking, and being stupid, people are in the hallway watching, and they're like, did you see them acting like that? They're not talking about recovery and addiction, because you better stick to recovery and addiction. And the thing about it is, with what I'm doing here, I have met so many people that are struggling and stuff like that. And I like the natural of it. It's not being forced.
Right.
And
You know,
that's what
I,
I love.
I think that's what I hope one day to have a part of my channel be nothing but individual to feel safe to come here to just listen or to vent or to kind of like tonight you hopped on the panel and you're open about your feelings and thoughts. I hope that this could be a safe landing spot for anyone that is struggling through things that really, if just for that day they want to get better. You know what I mean? Because how many people have I crossed in my life that had they not been there at the right time, given me the right hug, the right understanding, the right love, or the right silence to let me vent, I wouldn't be here. I
Right.
wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. Because sometimes somebody who is going through stuff, they don't want anything else other than somebody to shut up and listen.
Exactly. And that's how that, um, when I went live every night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. every night, 7 nights a week. And we called ourselves No Sleep Crew, and that's how it started. Was we wanted that place that if you were struggling with just not feeling safe in your own bed, come in. It didn't have to be addiction. It didn't have to be, it could just be if you were just having a bad day, you know.
Right.
And And the thing about it, Gage, is you have that in you that people come to you because that you have that voice that puts everybody to sleep, man.
I got a comment, and thank you. I got a comment early on when my channel was barely being born. I was like so excited getting comments, right? Because I had all of probably 10 subscribers. And I'd get comments from people that weren't subscribers. This one guy, he put on there, he said, "Bro, if I could recommend something, why don't you do a line of Coke
Oh wow.
before a live? Because you talk so slow, you put me to sleep, and my Coke high wears off." And I was like, "Well, thank you, but I've never tried Coke, so I don't think I'd do well on it. I'd end up, probably being a fool and being live on any kind of substance. I can't. I don't know how people do that. If they do that, I don't know. I'd be paranoid as hell that somebody would be able to tell."
Lord, boy, you could tell it with me. Let me tell you, the first time that I ever tried meth, I cut my grass with a pair of scissors.
Holy shit! Oh
I
my
kid you,
god!
I kid you not. I didn't have, well, not the whole yard, but like the weed eating and stuff. I was out there with my little scissors, just a cutting away, boy.
Before I became a counselor, I've always been drawn to people that either kind of like Aquarius said, broken or misfits or whatever. Well, I had a crush on this girl. And I didn't know that she did anything. I didn't know that she messed around. I thought that she just drank a little, right? Well, she invited me to her apartment. First time I'd ever been there. And I noticed that she was on the computer at all hours of the night, just chatting. And I get in her apartment. She's in there. She's with a friend on the kitchen table. And I shit you not. There's like all these map colors lined up perfect. There's all these pens lined up perfect. And there's all these coloring books and posters that you color and all this stuff, right? This was way before I became a therapist. So I had no clue. I was like, why you got coloring books? She's like, "Oh, no big deal. We like to color." And I went into her room and she had black lights and she had, all those psychedelic posters and stuff that you color. And I thought, well, maybe that's what it is, right? It wasn't until later on that I realized that she was a tweaker. She was a tweaker. And I was like, she's like, "You didn't know? You were going to school for it?" I said, I had no clue. She's like, "Yeah, we would do that all day long and, for days and be there coloring and, doing all kinds of stuff." And then she's like, I she said, "I would talk to you whenever I was first high." And she's like, "Did you not notice that I had a lot of misspelled words and everything that I was typing was so fast?" I was like, "No, I just thought it was just, I was naive as hell back then.
I
I
thought you
was
needed some schooling.
right. I was like, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm so glad I don't do that anymore." I said, "So you don't have the pens or the map colors or anything anymore?" She's like, "No, I still have that. I don't let myself get too far into it." She's like, "I love the color." She's like, That's part of my compulsive act when I used to tweak." And I was like, "Wow, wow, Gage, really?"
Look, I don't know if you noticed in one of my comments the other day, but I said that I was a behavioral specialist at a group home for
Yes,
mentally challenged adults.
yes, I did.
And
I did see that.
so part of my job for that was I was also residential coordinator for two houses. And buddy, that was during my strung out days. And I called myself, that functioning addict. There's no such thing, people.
No,
That's a false reality, you know.
no.
But my bosses loved me because everything. The towels were folded all the same way. The closets were clean. We could pass a state inspection like you wouldn't believe. Now the clients, they didn't like me because it was like, okay, time to go do closets, and they're like, no, short sleeves with short sleeves, jeans with jeans. I
What
mean,
kind of coffee are you on, bro? What kind of coffee are you on? Wow. Yeah,
yeah.
I get you, Nina. I mean, it's like that lifestyle is detrimental to a lot of stuff, but while you're around those type of individuals, it seems like you're getting a lot done, but you're really not. You're starting a lot of projects, but you're not completing much,
But you
and
know, the thing,
you're not sleeping much.
I managed a 16-plex movie theater, and during that time, it was when it was anti-crystal, and you could take it and fix the little pixie sticks, and I don't want to like trigger anybody, but anyway,
Right.
I thought I was the shiznit. I'm managing a movie theater. I'm doing all this, and then I would look up at my board, and I'd have, because I was doing promotions too, and during that time, man, my creativity was off the charts. I mean, you know, we put an airplane in our lobby. We, you know, we had Spider-Man coming down. We had a live band on the roof. We had Spider-Man scaling down the theater, you know. But then I'd look up and I'd have this promotion half planned and that promotion a quarter planned. My inventory wouldn't even be started. I mean, but I thought I was ahead of the ball game.
Thank God I never got on methamphetamine or anything like that, but I did take some Fedra pills back in the day because, like you were talking about weight loss, I was working out with those things, and man, I took those for the very first time. The very first one I took, boy, it blew my mind off. And I'm not trying to trigger anybody either, but this was straight ephedra from,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, it just blew me away, and I was hooked. I was up to like 6 or 7 caps a day, and I was working in a drug and alcohol place and, psychiatric. I lost 50 pounds in probably 2.5 months, but I was running every night. Would run like Forrest Gump, bro. Like I was running every night, just sweating it all off. I could not sleep. I could not stay awake. It was a terrible type of cycle. I would have to drink to get low enough to sleep, and still my sleep was not a restful sleep. It was that rapid dreaming type sleep where you weren't asleep, and it was just terrible. It was just awful. When I finally got off those pills, it took me 30 days to get everything back in order. Like I was so tired I could barely make it through the day. Coffee wouldn't do it, sodas wouldn't do it, nothing would do it.
And the struggle, look, I'll be honest, the struggle's real. I mean, you know, like I said, with the diet pills at age 11, so then, after I get down to the size my mama thinks that I look cute as, then there's no more diet pills. Yeah. What the heck? You know? And
Right.
so at that time, uh, I started taking the white crosses and stuff like that. And then, here came Adipex. I think I've taken every diet pill that's ever came out, ever. And so then I found Thermalift. And see, at the time, Thermalift had ephedra in it. And then they came through and those fools took ephedrine out of everything. Well,
Yeah, they
what's your
killed
next step?
killed again. Yeah, what is this stuff? This don't work. All this caffeine don't work at all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I'm trying to bootleg Thermalift and it's an over the counter.
oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, looking back on it, and I don't want the chat to think we're glorifying it right now because we're
No,
really,
no.
it is a very awful, awful time. And being sober, that's why we're laughing because it's such an insanity of that time in our lives. You think back and you're like, oh my God, how did I make it alive out of that? How did my mind? I mean, I can tell that I got mental issues due to it because my
Not
memory,
me.
my memory's affected. Kind of like last night, I was talking about the Idaho 4, and I couldn't remember what was going on between the first and the second door opening. I could
I
not for the
was in
life.
there for that.
I was
And
like,
then
what?
you had me second guessing. I was like, wait a minute, I think I may be wrong.
I was like, what the between first and second door open, the second to third door open. I'm like, I've talked about this a million times, and tonight I don't have uh, an idea what happened during that time. And I was like, I need to go to sleep or something. I don't know. But Nina, I'm glad that you hopped up here to give some insight because emotional abuse, when you turn on yourself, that's one of the worst things that you could possibly do. Do you agree?
Oh, nobody can ever beat me up as bad as I beat me up.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind, I'm gonna read you something.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. It's the title is Mask of Illusion.
Okay.
It seems like I am strong, as if nothing is wrong. My smiles are often sincere. Other times they hide my fears. I created a mask of illusion to hide any pain or confusion. A tear will not come from my eye. I have learned to hold it inside. I want to belong and be of the crowd, to be able to speak my emotions aloud. I want to be accepted, fearing the possibility of being rejected. I need to bring out the real me, for you not to judge what you may see. The weaknesses and flaws I try to hide are the real me I keep hidden inside.
Wow, that's amazing, Nina. That is, I can feel that. I can feel that
And when you
because
were talking, I was like, yeah, I've got probably 50 poems. And I was like, okay, that's the one that I want to send, you know, because I think that we all try to mask our who we are really, because we're afraid of that rejection.
of course, because
And
being accepted is part of one of the basic needs in life.
right.
You know, that's an awful place to be. That's an awful place to be.
Yes, it is. So, and when I decided to get clean, I will, and I think I've told you before that I give everything to Lincoln Park for helping me get clean.
Yeah.
Um, I would put my headphones on, turn them up as loud as they could go, and I had never picked up a paintbrush, a paint, anything to paint ever in my life. And for some reason, I pick up a paint scraper
Oh wow.
and I sit there with my headphones and Lincoln Park and I paint Lincoln Park songs with a paint scraper.
Oh, you know that Chester struggled with a lot of
Oh my
depression.
gosh.
He struggled with a lot of that in his
Oh yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Lincoln Park got me through a lot too. But the album that really got me through the most was Stained,
Oh yeah.
Epiphany.
Right.
That album right there. Or no, it's called Break the Cycle. That album right there. It got me through so much in my life because like you're saying, when you're stuck in your mind, there's nothing that you feel will help you get out of it. You
And
feel like,
I'll tell anybody as far as Lincoln Park, if people that don't really know them, don't ever just sit down and try to listen to Lincoln Park. Sit down with the lyrics.
yeah,
That's when Lincoln Park will touch you is when you read those lyrics.
I want to read a poem too. You care if I
Okay.
read a poem?
No, go, go.
Okay, this one was written July 29, 2003. So this was very early on in my sobriety. Moving on from the jade in my heart filled box. It says, in time we meet people along the way, those that come, go, or just fade into space. And in time we wonder if they really existed at all. Just a vision of light, not expected to be seen in the darkness filled hall. I look up and wonder, where has my years gone? Am I really that further down this road of life we take as minutes on a clock? But who pays it, hourly or just in stock? Mostly in stock of an unfulfilled dream or quest. We often try to be the best. If we fall, we blame him for that, instead of knowing we dropped the hat. If a person thinks that he or she gets out without paying some along the way, pain is a token that the devil takes on a daily basis. We are too ignorant to acknowledge or even fight for our sanity or happiness, just rolling through life on that darkened bus. We use all sorts of things to fill the void of a jaded heart, never really erasing but allowing it to try to stop. One day it will end, then we will be faced with the light that was never seen in the darkness. Then what do we do? Laugh and say this is an illusion too? Love exists in the purest of the pure. It's the expectations of others that causes us never to see or feel the joy. If a drop of rain can erase the blemishes of the world, then how could a tear not bring the same kind of joy to the soul? Some confuse kindness for weakness, and I ask you this: if it didn't exist, would you be here to be missed? The
Oh,
clouds are rolling
wow.
away from the sunshine horizon of a delicate heart, waiting for the blood to flow again for a moment of pureness to start. It may be a prayer or a nice warm smile. More of these things might warm the world and somehow make it thaw. So the jaded pieces of my heart are scattered in trying to make them make sense. I think I'll sit back and just let the rays hit me and the drops of rain to cleanse my soul. Anyone want to dabble in my sun showered stroll?
Wow. Okay. You want a sad one?
Okay.
Now my this is one that I wrote. This is one after that I wrote after I lost David.
Okay.
And it says, "As I drown in the empty pool of life, my soul is flooded with anger and strife. Dry eyes full of tears. Happiness is only a facade. Accepting there's only agony, and despair is now God. Echoes and prayers have no place to land, so my screams turn silent and slip from my hands. So as you wake me from my nightmarish dreams, listen loudly for my silent screams. In my mind, a world of confusion, hoping and wishing it was just my delusions. Cold and heavy, I throw at your feet my broken heart with merely a beat."
Wow. Can just hear the pain. I can feel it. Did that help you get through?
Mar
Hmm?
17 years ago, Marty told me, write a poem. I said, "Are you crazy? I've never written a poem in my life." And I think I wrote like a 6-line poem. And since then, oh my gosh, the poetry is what gets me through. And a lot of it's dark, like that. I mean, I don't think I have any poems that are like generic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, um, I've got, I guess, I don't know if you would call it funny. I've got one that's sort of, um, it's, it says, harsh words, violent blows, hidden secrets nobody knows. Eyes are open, hands are fisted. Deep inside, I'm warped and twisted. So many tricks, so many lies, too many wheres, too many whys. Nobody's special, nobody's gifted. It's just me, I'm warped and twisted. Sleeping awake, choking on a dream, listening loudly to silent screams. Call my mind the numbers unlisted. Lost in someone, warped and twisted. And this is so old, it's fading. On my knees, alive but dead. Look at all the blood I've shed. I'm not gone, my mind has drifted. Don't expect much, I'm warped and twisted. Burnt out, wasted and hollow. Today is just yesterday's tomorrow. The sun dried out, the ashes sifted, but I'm still here, just warped and twisted.
Wow, that's awesome.
I guess that would be like the most light, airiest I have.
Yeah. Well, hey, Kim and Carlos, welcome back from vacation. I hope y'all had fun. Texas, how are you doing, buddy? You guys have come to a good point in the live. We're reading poetry. I think that we, Nina and myself, need to have like a poetry night. Like have a on a Saturday or a Sunday night, have poetry and have people come up and read their own poetry. I think that would be awesome.
See,
I mean,
I think that would be awesome. I mean, because and even just to let other people know that there are ways to get it out. Even if you can't talk to somebody, put it on paper.
right.
Put it on a canvas, put it somewhere.
You know what? Nina's correct as far as journaling as well. I started my journal in um, 2003, and I still write in it from time to time. But I would say at least for 18 years, there was an entry almost every day, sometimes two, three times a day. And some entries were so, it's like you saw the bipolar in my thought process because one day I'd be happy, 3 day of anger. One day I'd be happy, 2 days I'd be happy, 4 days of anger. It's like you must purge that
Oh
stuff
yeah.
out, but you cannot replace it with more negativity. It must be replaced with positive insight. You must replace it with the process that maybe you don't understand, but you have to hang on till the miracle happens. If I can say anything about that.
And somebody I saw in the chat where they were talking about take a week and everybody, like write just whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges that when I first started on TikTok, I was listening to a guy and he challenged everybody in there to write themselves a love letter. And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Think about it. I want you to write yourself a love letter like you would write a love letter to anybody else, but those things that you say to somebody you love, how great you are and stuff like that." And I said, "Okay, I can't write a love letter. Can I write a poem?" And that was like the hardest thing I had ever done in my life.
That is something that is said in therapy to write yourself a love letter when you're at your darkest,
Yes.
even if you don't believe it. One day you keep reading it, and you get healthier and healthier. And one day you realize that that love letter was right on point and it's everything that you needed.
There was another guy that like sort of his journaling was like talking to someone else, like he was giving that person the advice, but he
Yeah,
was really advising himself. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
he was talking about that. That's how he got through. Um, I have a friend of mine that does. I don't know what it's really called, but he goes outside and just gets anything and everything out of the yard and just puts it together and makes art with it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I honestly believe in art therapy and music therapy. There was a lot of times that people would come in and they couldn't sleep. And I'd tell them, look, I want you to go to bed and turn on Lincoln Park. And they're like, you want me to go to sleep to Lincoln Park? You know, and I'm like, okay, just listen, because this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick the Lincoln Park songs that you've never heard. And I want you to sit there and I want you to read those lyrics, read those lyrics, read those lyrics. Because what's happening is we get ourselves used to listening to the songs that we know,
Hmm.
and we're not working that brain and putting it to sleep. So I got them to start listening to songs they didn't know and doing the lyrics, and they would actually read the lyrics until they went to sleep because they were working that energy out of their brain.
Right, right, exactly.
But they
You
thought
know,
I was crazy. You want me to go to sleep to Lincoln Park?
of course, people when they start off their journey on self discovery, everything sounds so psychobabble. I can't do this. It's too easy or too hard. I can't be kind to myself. I used to tell grown men to go take a bubble bath.
Yeah.
You're stressed out, you're anxious, go take a bubble bath. I got laughed out of the room, and I'm like, okay, don't knock it till you tried it. I said, you're laughing at it, but you're at your wit's end, and go take a bubble bath. You let me know if it works for you. Because a bubble bath, if you don't if you don't know what it does, it I don't know, it just somehow just releases your stress from your muscles and it just makes you feel better.
Oh, yeah. I
Because
mean,
think of
when
how children love bubble baths, right?
right.
You get to make yourself little bubble beards and everything else. And, we
Get in touch
forget,
with get in touch with that inner child.
yes, we forget that we were all one children.
Right.
We grow up and we become, we see the age on our faces or our hair or whatever, and we forget that we were ever innocent, that we ever
Oh, yeah.
had a moment in time where we took care of ourselves throughout the day and we made ourselves happy. We weren't bored. We weren't frustrated. We weren't angry. Um, we weren't constantly beating each other up or calling people names or anything like that. We were innocent. And what I'm talking about right now is not walking around in a cloud. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, when you're already in turmoil, you got to quit the fight.
Oh, yeah.
You can
You
take,
have to know. You have to know when it's time to say white flag.
yeah, because, if you don't learn how to quit the fight, it's going to overcome you. I'm not going
And
to read a, I'm not
oh
going to
yeah,
read a
go.
poem, but I'm going to read an entry from my online journal, okay?
Okay.
It says August 10th, 2003. It says, lots of rain today, cloudy skies. My mood was antsy and unsure. It says, hi, Journal. How are you doing tonight? I haven't wrote in you all day because I've been sleeping and computer was acting crazy as well. I have class in the morning and life is so blah right now. I'm neither sad nor happy, just kind of confused and just floating, listening to the jukebox with thoughts of loneliness in my veins. I guess I spend too much time alone and I don't really have an established foundation here. I have friends, but they all want to just use me for something or never have the adequate money for a movie or go eat or anything. So I always end up paying, and that gets expensive. I'm sick of the bitch sessions on here. I want to write about something positive and uplifting and inspirational, not just the gloomy stuff. Update. Well, this individual that I used to take care of, his name was Charlie. I said, well, Charlie is still with us. This morning at 6 when I left, and he was singing the blues and chilling. Every time I look into his eyes, I realize that life isn't as blasé as I make it then. I leave there and come home or go to class, and people just leech the life out of you so much that you don't want to be around them. I feel so bad at times because I feel so good at work most of the time, and then there's just one client and he just drives me insane. I mean, I don't know what it is. I just hold so much contempt for him and pray about that, but it just feels so evil around him. Then in turn, I feel guilty because I don't really like him. My teacher warned us about this. How if we started to analyze things so much in this world, it would drive us crazy. Well, I don't think I'm crazy yet, just full of questions and not many answers. If there was a time when a question would somehow manifest its own answer, I need that time to be now. I have trouble with patience. I want what I want when I want it. And if it doesn't happen, then I start getting anxious and start doubting my ability to obtain it. I guess because I put so much work into making it see that I'm not the worst candidate out there, I put 110% into everything I do. And then in time, if I have to wait on it, my interest dwindles unless they keep assuring me that my focus and energy will somehow pay off. In the end, the one thing I ever finished that I loved and had no question was in football. I never doubted my abilities. I never floundered in the thoughts of inadequacy. With girls, though, it's never been that easy. They always seem to just leave enough doubt to keep you there. I suck at it. I ask so many questions and sometimes feel, damn, 12 gauge, this is a feeling you should already know, and I don't. I wasn't taught. I was schooled in the harsh points of life resentment, anger, hate, judgment, and untrusting. They're the person I want to be to let in, but so scared that I may not be good enough, and then I just put on the arrogant mask on and scare them away. This person seems so weak at times and so needy. Is that how it comes across, Journal? Do I really seem to be that needy pick me up all time guy? Or what in the fuck is going on? Show me a sign type. I don't know. I don't think anger has a forum here because if I get mad, then all the therapeutic cleansing is lost. I shouldn't be so lonely. I have great friends and I talk to my family in increments. I haven't seen my mom in months. I never go see my dad. My brother's in whatever town I put on here. I work or go to school or I'm on here because of the safety of it all. I really hate this area and I'm trying to give it a chance. I just am used to good old home down life of Texas where everyone is friendly and country living exists. Here it seems like people are scared to trust you or give you a chance or even be a friend or they turn into a friend and they use the hell out of you. So you end up alone. I have great friends online, but you know, the fears of the net, they're great on here, but if you ever meet in real life, something changes. They become real, and then the fantasy is gone, I guess. I've had a lot of bad experiences meeting people off of here. They have no social skills, they're just so quiet, it kind of makes me look like a fool because I talk a lot. I miss love. I miss the holding of someone that is warm, that doesn't judge me or give me bogus numbers. It doesn't ever return my calls or acts like I'm a leech of insecurity. I've never been in this spot very long and frankly tired of it. I'm scared to take that step also. What if she doesn't think I'm worthy, even attractive enough, or worse yet, her friends don't think I'm enough? Who cares? Screams out, fuck. Does this, does everyone have these thoughts? Or is it just my own craziness that feels this lonely dragon? I need the sword to slay this motherfucker. I really do. I hate him. I wish he would go away and leave me the fuck alone so I could go on with my existence of living that I've never really known. Fuck off, dragon. Okay, I felt better. I guess I'll go talk to this person. I hope you guys are having a dry day. Love you all. And please pray for me. I need them, and so does my mouth, obviously.
I like that. I've never journaling. I've never thought about like doing it, like talking to the journal.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did at every one of them. It's like I'm gonna talk to the journal. I'm gonna talk to it and put my stuff out there. It's craziness to go back and read them because I start laughing like I just did because I'm thinking to myself, bro, lighten up, lighten up. If you see yourself in years from now, you'll be all right. Lighten up.
See, I
You
think that's one of the biggest things that it took me the longest to learn is to give myself the grace that I give others.
yeah, yeah. You
Because
know, laughter is a great tool. Is a great tool.
it's a great mask.
I'm not masking right now, but
Oh no, no. I mean, I'm saying that when you're in that, you know, a lot of times it's better to laugh than cry because you're afraid that you won't ever stop crying.
I was reading that and I can't, that's what journaling did for me. And I hope that if you journal and I hope that you get to the point where you can be honest with yourself and you go back and read it years later and you do just laugh at your insanity, because that's what it is. It's insanity
Right.
because you're insane at that moment because you're taking life so seriously and you're taking yourself so seriously that Looking back on that, that's 2003. We're in 2024. That was what, 21 years ago?
Right.
So much has happened in 21 years, you know?
Boy, so much can happen in 21 days.
I don't want to give people the wrong impression that thinks, once you start to change, it never goes backwards because
Yeah,
you have your days. But for the
have your
most
days. I've gone backwards so many times. I finally realized that the rearview mirror is smaller than the front windshield for a reason.
yeah,
You're supposed to look forward a whole lot more than you look backwards.
right, right. But you
I
have to
mean,
understand at one point, that person that was hurting, without that hurt, without that pain, you never would have enjoyed the dance at the end.
damn,
Kind
I
of
wish
like
I had never learned to dance.
that song says. I could have missed the pain. I could have missed
Oh, yeah.
by Garth.
Yeah. I mean,
But if
and
without any of that, you wouldn't have gotten where you are. He also has another one. Thank you for unanswered prayers, because there's been a lot of prayers that I've prayed that if they would have came true, I would have just. Oh
boy,
God!
wouldn't our lives been really mucked up if those had come true. I
But at
guess
the time,
I guess
at the
somebody up there does know what they're doing a whole
but
lot
at
better
the
than I did.
but at the time, we're thinking, man, I can't live without this. I can't live without that. And guess what?
God, why are you not hearing me?
Yes, but guess what? You're still here.
Exactly.
You're still here. You're still here.
Coulda, would, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah, you don't want to be shoulding all over yourself.
I'm going to pass something along to you guys too in chat, and I'm sure you probably heard it in another way, but use a kiss to yourself. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Kiss yourself every day. Keep it
Well, while
simple.
you're kissing yourself, make sure that you focus.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fuck off because you're stupid.
You know, I had to tell myself a long time ago, quit with the grenade, bro. It's been done. It's played out. You've done it. You've got the T-shirt. You got the coffee cup, bumper sticker. You got it all. Now keep the truck, because you always lose the truck.
And pray for those people that you don't like. It may be that prayer about the flower pot falling off the windowsill, but at
Right. I
least
mean,
at least pray for them.
and one thing, we never get out without paying for everything we've done before the miracle happens. If that makes sense.
Yep. Don't
You know
ever
what?
leave before the miracle happens.
Right. It's like, okay, why can't I have this? Why can't I have this? Well, you're not done paying for all the bullshit, excuse me, all the stuff that you've done to others. You haven't paid it all the way through. You still owe a little bit. Once you're done paying, then I'll give you a little bit more of the blessings, and then we'll keep going on. We'll just.
Gage, Gage may owe a little bit. I still got a lifetime of owing.
And if I can share something with the chat as well, karma is real. Karma is real.
God will forgive you. Karma does not forget. You write your own karma.
Right, right.
And the thing about it is, here's what I'm going to give to the chat. Everybody has the right to eat, but they do not have to eat at your table. A word of advice: if you take that chair away from that table, that bitch will eat somewhere else.
Yes, yes, Jeremiah. Hey, I was just wondering about you. I haven't seen you in here in a while. Yes, God bless the broken road. I'm not going to play the song, but I've heard it.
It may have a yellow dot.
It probably does. It probably does.
So, on that music thing, Massive Man, have you heard his new one?
No, I
Oh,
have not. I have not listened to that music player since that night. I have not went back. I told myself, well, you know what? I could probably play a little bit of the intro to this. No, Gage. Do not try to be quicker than the flame. You burned yourself really bad, you'll burn yourself again. And that's what
I
I had
didn't
to.
say listen to it on here.
Well, that is a good music player, though. I mean, it has some good songs on there. I'm
Okay,
glad.
so I'm gonna uh my granddaughter turned 16 in June. She's had 3 open heart surgeries.
Oh my
She had
goodness.
her she had her first open heart surgery when she was 6 days old. So while I was sitting in the waiting room with my little 6-day-old granddaughter having her chest cut open, I wrote this.
Okay,
They
let's hear
cut
it.
they cut me open, they cracked my chest. They hold my heart in their hands. I know I'm scared, I know I cry. I need the answer. Why me, Lord? Why? You answer softly while I'm under the knife. I have a plan, little girl, for your beautiful life. Just remember as you look at your chest, I don't deal in junk. I choose only the best. You may be little, but you're a fierce little girl. And always remember, you will grow into a lady and you will own your world.
You need to publish some of these.
Oh my gosh.
If nothing more than to share with the community page on a daily.
Really? I've never
Yeah,
thought about that.
people need to hear that because you'd be shocked how many people are going through stuff on a daily basis. They wake up and life just kicks them in the teeth, and they need a kind hand to lift them up from the ground and say, "Hey, get up. You're okay. You're gonna be all right. It's not. It's a bad day. It's not a bad life."
And that's the thing about it when Carrie had her open heart surgery and stuff like that. One thing that I live by is if money can fix it, it's not a problem.
Right.
And so many people are like, well, if you ain't got the money, it's a problem. No, you don't understand. All the money in the world couldn't have stopped my granddaughter from having 3 open heart surgeries,
Right.
you know. And to me, and I think maybe that's just how I falsely get through the day. If money can fix it, it ain't a problem.
Right.
But but it's the truth. I mean, it's those problems that people have that there's no amount of money that can fix those problems.
Right. I had open heart surgery.
No way.
Yeah, when I was 3 years old, I was born with a hole in my heart, and I always used to joke the damn doctor didn't get the whole thing shut. You know,
What? Wait a minute. What?
I had a heart murmur, my,
Okay.
and I had open heart surgery at 3 years old, and I used to always joke with people that the damn doctor didn't close up the hole. Right, they left part of it open, so that's why I feel the way I feel. Is the doctor didn't get everything closed up.
Did you know that is so profound to me to hear you say that? Because when Carrie was born, she her blood was mixing. It wasn't separating because it's like 3 chambers to the heart. I mean, it's some kind of big. And
Right.
Sebastian Rogers, he has that 6q27 syndrome. Well,
Hmm.
Carrie she's got a chromosomal missing chromosome. She's got that. She's got uh, the heart atresia or something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
but when I do multimedia art too, and so one night I'm sitting there doing it, and she gets a canvas down. And ever since they've been little, I just let them make whatever mess they make, because I want them to do art, and I don't ever want them to be afraid of, oh, I'll make a mess or I'll mess it up or whatever.
Right.
And so I was doing my art. I was doing was with rope and stuff like that. And she took on the canvas and she made a heart out of rope. And then Every piece of whatever I had in my little container, she dumped it out. The plastic ones she put on one side, and on the other side, like the little metal pieces that are like the gears and stuff like that, she put
Hmm.
all the metal looking pieces on the other side. And I was sitting there and, I was amazed. I was watching her. She was placed them everything. And I mean, I'll go around the house and I'll pick up anything and throw them in my little bucket.
Right.
And the more I watched, the more, and it was half and half. And she said, Nina, this side that's the metal, that's my broken side of my heart. And this side over here with the plastic and all the colors, that's the side of my heart that's right. And oh my gosh, it touched me so much. And I mean, that piece of art, I hope somebody buries me with that thing because that is like the most priceless piece of art that I could ever be given, you know.
Yeah.
And when you said that, that's what it made me think of. It was, Carrie feels defective. She feels like something is wrong. And for the kids that haven't had the three open heart surgeries and stuff like that, I mean, her lifespan, if without being able to go through the open heart surgeries, is like 20, and she just turned 16. And so, of course, she's at that age. She knows how to research stuff, and so she
Right.
goes to
Right.
her mama one night. And she's like, 20. I'm 16. You know, and Tamla had to sit her down and explain to her that she's had the surgeries, and we finally talked her into not researching the lifespan. The because that doesn't mean that's when it's going to happen. Because I think the lifespan's like 32. Oh God, not 32. That's how old David was. But um, the
Right.
thing about it was she started scaring herself. You know, And we actually had to take her to the heart doctor, and he put her on a heart monitor to show her, look, you're doing good. Everything's, because she was actually freaking herself out.
Yeah. I think if I unconsciously, if I've ever, sitting here listening to you about your granddaughter's story, I wonder if I've done that to myself subconsciously, like thinking, there's something wrong with me. I'm not whole because I was broken at such a young age. And especially
See,
when it has to do with your heart. You know what I
right.
mean? It's just like a psychiatric type thing where it gives you a feeling that hell, my heart's even broken. So everybody else has whole hearts.
Well, see,
Mine's
she came exactly, and she came to me one night because, there's a stage in her life that she may have to have a heart transplant. And she came to me and she said, would you be mad at me if I didn't do it? And I was like, what? What? Whoa. What are you talking about? Why would you even consider not doing it? You know?
right.
And she said, because that's where Uncle David and Papa are.
Oh
They're
my
in my
god.
heart. And oh my God, how do you sit there and stay strong? And but then, we teach them all their lives that the heart is love. That's where you store. And then I'm sitting there going, no, that's all lies. That's not where you've got them.
I
That's just
didn't
an
mean it.
organ.
I didn't mean it. I didn't, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she was like, I can't do it because then somebody, I would lose them. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I? Tamla, your daughter has questions. I'm just the Nina, you know.
Right. I'm just Nina. I'm just
But yeah,
kind of
I mean, I'm sure that has a lot because I've seen Carrie struggle with it.
yeah.
And see, on top, she's got the chromosomal depletion. She's had two cleft palate surgeries. So she's got, her mouth is messed up, her heart. She's got Munchkin's. I mean, she's like, I think she is 16 and she's just now got up to 90 pounds.
But she's a miracle. She's a
But that
miracle.
is the feistiest. I
She is a
mean,
miracle.
she's one of those that's just got that it factor and she don't even know it.
That yeah. But to the rest of the world, since she doesn't look like everybody else, she doesn't act like
And
everybody
she's
else.
got that speech impediment and
You know,
yep.
it's terrible that we don't see beauty from within, like what we've been told our whole lives. You know.
Wow, that got pretty deep there, Gage.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Let me welcome some people that I noticed have came into the chat. Paula, how are you doing? Chandra, thank you for being here. Jeremiah, buddy, nice to see you. I know I said hello a while ago, but nice to see you and the people that have came and gone and came back. Welcome. Um, I'm gonna read one more poem, and we're getting long, so let me. You can always come back and we can start back up where we left off, Nina, if you'd like.
Anytime, anytime. It gives me practice.
This one was wrote September 25th, 2003. It says, "To the addicted and uncharmed life of the world, we often want more than the land our bodies should endure. Then we place blame on others to justify our illicit behavior of our fellow man, only to realize it's our own body or mind that beats to the rhythm, but we will not accept accountability or creed to our awful shortcoming we bring to the table of life. It's not about helping purify the world. We sometimes seem preoccupied with destroying it and ourselves in the name of greedy and envy, deceit, or false pretense. But again, we rationalize this behavior with a smile or a kiss from the neighbor's wife as we juggle to the credit card in front of us of a homeless man and then wonder why he ills to kill all in the name of survival and the venom that bestows your head. It's the head we must crush because God told early man to do such, to be a reminder of the fruit of the good and evil that he shouldn't have touched or eaten. Maybe then we wouldn't be all so full of cynicism and hatred for our fellow man. So when you reach into the cup of you call life, ask yourself this: is your money really more important than what other souls are starving for? Or can it really buy you into heaven? It's the soul that is empty that the green in your pocket can't mend. The blemishes, the scars inside you. Remember scars? Asked Jesus. I bet he does. Why let this dying for us be all in vain, as we still want to suffer with so much pain?
Wow. I'm sort of
Ta-da!
no, that one was that one was deep there. Especially the about the scars in Jesus.
Yeah. Those were during my transformation, my early recovery transformation. I was dating a woman that was very godly, and her family took me in. As I should have married that woman. But for whatever reason, I was not in a place in my mind or my heart to really see her for who she was, the beauty that she had, or she would be my wife today. You know, I put that family through hell. Put that family through hell with my addictive thoughts, my behaviors, my self sabotage. You know, because the worst thing that people can try to do when you're trying to get sober is to push faster than you can crawl. They think you're walking, but you're crawling and you're stumbling and they're falling, but they think you're walking.
It's funny, addiction is really selfish, but recovery is selfish too.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, I got to do my recovery so I can take care of you. It's about my recovery. And one day I'm sitting there thinking, damn, my addiction was about me. My recovery is about me. Common denominator, I guess the problem's me.
yeah. I mean, looking back, this individual that I'm talking about, she's not married that I know of. She has a child, but sometimes you hurt someone that's not meant to be hurt that badly or ever have been hurt that badly by someone that they're smart enough not to let you come back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, man. We really got deep tonight, Nina.
I
Like, I
know.
appreciate I appreciate you being up here, and Chad, I hope that we didn't scare any of you off with our deepness, because sometimes you have to see that we're real just like everyone else. Um
Exactly. Exactly.
we
You
have
know, I mean,
we have to show you that we
I don't
yeah,
ever want to try to fake it.
right. I don't want to be up here talking about how great life is when I'm struggling. But I don't want you to take pity on me. Sometimes I just need people
Exactly.
to listen. I just want someone to listen. And try to remember that whenever you have people in your own lives, sometimes they might need you just to listen and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be
You
okay.
know, that's the thing that I always told the mothers when, I would talk to them after they lost a child was, if you need me, it's your need, it's your phone call. If you want to kick, scream, yell, or if you just want to sit silent, whatever you need at that time, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't want you to fix it. We just want to air it out.
Well, in my case, I blew it up so much that there were fire and ashes and burning buildings all around me. And there was no fixing it. Everything was exploded and blown apart. And you're right, Rondi. Help is on the way. Wow, that makes me happy that you remembered me saying that. I used to say that all the time. Help is on the way. And I need to start saying that a little more, when I get overwhelmed. Help is on the way. And 12 gauge is not his name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. When I first started TikTok, I was actually told by a really good friend of mine, they were like, Nina, sometimes it's time to take the cape off,
Yeah.
because and this is terrible to say, but I finally realized that I was trying so hard to save the others because of the guilt from not being able to save David.
Yeah.
And
Chandra,
when I
Chan-
came to that realization, it really helped because it was like, okay, I can't save you from you.
yeah, exactly. Chandra, you're right. I fought that for a long time. I didn't want to help others. I hated people. I hated the thought of helping people. I hated it. I didn't want to be in your life. I didn't want to be to help you. I wanted you to get out of my face. I didn't like people. But you're right. It led me to be where I'm at today. And hopefully I am helping. Hopefully I am giving people a little bit of hope.
Well,
Because
I can honestly say that I thank you for letting me up here because obviously I needed this tonight and didn't know it.
yeah, sometimes we are placed exactly where we're meant to be and don't even realize that. You know what I mean?
And I'm going
Jer-
to hold you to that Saturday night thing sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm too much coffee, man. Um, to the chat, if any of you write poetry or you write something that you want to share with anybody else, you can come up on panel on that night, whatever, whenever we do it, and you can come up and read your stuff. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to use your real name. You can be anonymous, and because I think that would do a lot of healing for a lot of people. If you have comedy, if you have any type of talent that would help people kind of just lighten up a little bit, because we all need that. We all need that. I appreciate all of you being in this chat, as well as supporting the channel every step of the way from the very beginning to now, because I've heard people tell me, I've been following you since your very beginning. And I was like, well, how come you were never in chat? Well, I don't chat. Okay. Well, just stop in to say hello or hit a like and comment something the next day. Hey, bro, what's up? or something. Just let me know that you're here because you are
Right.
valuable. You are valued to this channel. Without you, there is no me. And I know other people say that, but I mean it because I started from 2 people in the chat to 8. I've been up to 100 and something. I'd rather have 8. I really would
I
because
was thinking the same
I,
thing.
I enjoy being able to interact with each and every one of you and make you feel that you're the most important person in the place because that's why I do this. Not for numbers, not for money, not for accolades. That's why I do
Okay,
it.
well, I'm different. I want 300 people in my chat, and I want the super chats. No, I'm joking. Gage doesn't want them, so send them over here.
All right, all right, yeah. Send them to Nina. Send them to Nina. You know. Um, but yeah, sometimes we need a night like tonight where we just talk.
Right,
We
right.
we have talked about social distortion and emotional abuse. We've talked about it, but we've also given some suggestions as well. We just don't stick in the problem.
No, no, there's always a solution.
If you're new to my channel, I hope that you keep coming back. One thing I'm not going to do, and I've said this at the very beginning, is I'm not going to cover the Idaho 4 anymore. So if you're looking for that case to be covered here, it's not going to happen anymore. I did my last one last night, and it's not going to happen. Even if things break wide open, I'm not going to cover that case. It's too toxic, and I don't get anything from that. You know. So hopefully you'll come in to learn about different other cases, some cold cases, and things of that nature. There are plenty of other channels that cover the Idaho 4 case, and they do it very well. So you
I
might
don't know
go,
if you've noticed, but I, somehow or another, I have fallen into the missing people.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I believe that needs to be shared as more than some of these other cases.
well, I started sharing them and everything, and so then they started tagging me in it and everything, and you know, I'll tell anybody that everybody knows that I lost my son, but I'll tell anybody, a parent, that their child is out there and they don't know if they're alive, if they're dead, if they're cold, if they're hungry. You know, to me, that's the worst there is.
Yes.
I mean, and that so it's something that it really touches me, and I think I'm not saying that I'm going to stop doing research on, like, you know, those grisly crimes, but that one really touches me.
Yeah. Well, I believe that I want to spend more time on the living rather than the dead, and
Exactly.
that's not being um, cold or anything because I believe that those 4 innocent people deserve justice, however it comes. And Sebastian needs to be found. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah. And I
you
think the Sebastian case is what really drew me in. Because, man, that is an Idaho 4 case for the missing.
exactly. And there's going to be other cases. I'm more about the investigative side of it. I'm more intrigued on the forensic side, the how it goes together, how the pieces fall into place. I don't do well with this could have been or this was possibly no, not this, not that. The speculation just isn't my thing. I'm not wired like that. I'm not a fiction person.
Right.
And that's what I don't understand. A lot of people get angry at Howard Blum calling his book fiction, but yet they tune in every day to fiction, to listen to fiction. Because none of the stuff that's being said has actually been proven.
Well, I mean,
It,
not to bring it up, but what does anybody really know? Everything's under seal.
right. So, I mean, you tune in every day to listen to fictional creators feeding you fiction because whatever. But that's all I got to
Well,
say about that.
uh, now, if anybody's interested, I think it is August the 15th. I have free tickets to a digital forensics webinar for anybody that thinks they may be interested in just seeing, because I'm going to it just because I want to try to understand it better. The cast reports and the
Yes.
pings and I mean, it's an hour and a half webinar, and I'm I had talked about Daniel. I had talked to Daniel about trying to do it. I guess we could do it because, I mean, if I get a ticket, I mean, could we do it on like Zoom and everybody just come in? Or, I mean, is there a way for us all to watch it?
I don't know. You got to make sure whoever's doing the original thing doesn't have a copyright on it because as far
Gage is like, if just stay away from the copyright.
as far as I know, you can't stream something that is being done by somebody who is doing it for monetary gain
Oh,
or
no, it's free.
but you got to make sure that it's okay with them that you do that. You get what
Well,
I'm
I
saying?
guess I will call them up tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it's getting kind of late, and I go back to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna kind of call it a night,
Thank you,
guys.
Gage.
Thank you, Nina. You're welcome here anytime. You have a good night, and I'll talk to you
All right.
soon.
Thank y'all.
Bye bye. Wow, I almost kicked myself out of the studio. Wouldn't that have been something? That would have been interesting, right? Once again, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the chat. If you watch this on replay, please understand it's kind of long, but there's a lot of substance to it. And that's one thing about the live that I have is there's a lot of substance that needs to be said that can't be said in an hour. And people's time is very precious. I understand that, but just keep coming back and listening to the live until you finish it. I guess because there is a lot of substance. I hope to see y'all again soon. Y'all check out Nina's channel. Any mods in the room? If you could, before I sign off, if you could put Nina's channel on here, that way anybody who hasn't visited her channel can go over there and visit her channel because, like she said, she's going in different directions, and she wants to try to continue to help the missing, which that's very honorable if you ask me. Yeah, Jeremiah, we're about to cue the music. I just want to put my Nina's page on here before I sign off. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this and you're still here, put a number one up here. That way I know that you enjoyed the topic because it's a deep topic. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for doing that. And I know that you've been doing work today, so um, that's what you've been listening. I appreciate all of you. And what do I say, Maestro? Mister, cue that music. No, it's Maestro. Cue that music. Let me see one of the old ones that I used to do at the very beginning. Here it is. Here's the old one that I used to do. Y'all tell me if y'all remember this one.